The floating island of Ayutthaya Prime hung in the sky like a jewel, its crystalline towers piercing the clouds. In a clean, sterile apartment high in the upper spires, Malee felt anything but brilliant. At 19, the world outside her window felt 1,000,000 miles away, a vibrant spectacle of sky traffic and laughing crowds she could only watch. Her own world was silent, contained, and governed by a fear so profound it could be paralyzing. She stared at the holographic menu hovering in her living room, her heart thudding a nervous rhythm against her ribs. Pineapple fried rice. It was simple. All she had to do was say yes. "Excellent choice," the cheerful AI voice chirped. "Would you like to add a side of our synthesized papaya salad?" The unexpected question was like a physical blow. Malee's throat closed up. Her mind, a whirlwind of panic, went completely blank. She was a ghost in her own home, terrified of the disembodied voice of a food delivery service. With a trembling finger, she jabbed the cancel button, and the hologram vanished, leaving her in a sudden, sharp silence. She buried her face in her hands, defeated. Later, as dusk painted the sky in shades of orange and violet, a news broadcast from a passing sky barge cut through her quiet misery. The notorious glitch gang was terrorizing merchants in the lower sector bazaar. A familiar coil of anger tightened in her gut, pushing aside the fear. It was a feeling that always came at night, a signal that a different part of her was waking up. She walked into her kitchen. The warm, wooden cabinets were a comforting old-world contrast to the sleek chrome of the rest of her apartment. This was her space, her sanctuary. Standing before the mirror-like finish of a cabinet door, she began the ritual. She unpinned her dark, simple hair. With a soft click from a device behind her ear, a cascade of shimmering light washed over it, transforming the plain brown into a shocking, beautiful mane of white, streaked with bold pink. Next came the makeup, applied with a warrior's precision. Dark, winged eyeliner that made her eyes sharp and electric blue. A dusting of blush. And finally, a deliberate, confident swipe of black lipstick. She pulled on her gear, black leggings with 2 clean white stripes down the sides. A form-fitting, long-sleeved black top with a scoop neck and a jagged pink logo that looked like the word rock exploding. As she straightened up, her entire posture shifted. The shy, hunched shoulders of Malee were gone. Her back was straight, her chin high. In the reflection, a stranger stared back. A woman with fire in her eyes and a small, dangerous smirk playing on her black-painted lips. Malee was gone. This was Lotus. The lower sector bazaar was a different universe. Steam hissed from noodle stalls, and the air was thick with the smell of fried spices and ozone. Here, 2 cybernetically enhanced thugs from the glitch gang were cornering a terrified stall owner. From the shadows of his own cluttered tech repair stall, a young man named KL watched, his hands clenched in helpless frustration. Suddenly, a small metal disc clattered onto the pavement, erupting in a thick cloud of pink smoke. Before the thugs could react, Lotus dropped from a rooftop above, landing as silently as a falling leaf. "No way," Kyle breathed, his eyes wide. "It's her." Lotus moved like a phantom. She weaved under a clumsy swing from a heavy mechanical arm, her elbow striking a precise disabling blow. A laser pulse from the other thug's glowing optic implant sizzled past her, scorching the wall. She closed the distance in a heartbeat, a fluid dance of futuristic Muay Thai, and jabbed 2 fingers toward his eyes, disabling his optics. He screamed, stumbling blindly. "The bazaar is closed for you," she said, her voice a low, steady hum of authority. The thug with the mechanical arm, recovering, lunged for a heavy crate to hurl at her. Seeing his chance, Kyle raised a small homemade device from his stall and fired. A focused EMP blast hit the thug's arm, which sparked, seized, and went limp. The crate crashed harmlessly to the ground, Lotus shot Kale a quick, surprised glance. It was the first time anyone had ever helped her. She used the opening to sweep the thug's legs from under him. He fell with a heavy thud, and she placed a foot on his chest, a clear, silent declaration of victory. As the smoke cleared and the distant wail of city sex sirens grew closer, Kale approached her, a genuine, awestruck smile on his face. "That was amazing," he said, holding up his little EMP device. "Glad I could help. I'm Kale. What should I call you?" His friendly, direct question pierced through her warrior persona. People feared Lotus. They revered her from afar. No one had ever just talked to her. For a moment, she was Malee again, her confidence faltering, her mind scrambling for an escape. "Lotus," she managed to say, her voice barely a whisper. "I have to go." She turned to leave, but in her haste, her foot caught a loose power cable. She stumbled, catching herself just before she fell, a flash of pure human clumsiness. A wave of heat rushed to her cheeks. She glanced back at Kale, a hint of embarrassment in her eyes, before vaulting onto a low roof and vanishing into the neon-drenched night. Kale watched her go, a thoughtful smile on his face. He hadn't just seen a legend, he'd seen a person. Back in her kitchen before dawn, Malee wiped the black lipstick from her mouth. She was Malee again. But something had shifted inside her. She kept replaying the moment. Kale's easy smile, his simple question. "If you ever need a friend." It wasn't a feeling of fear that churned inside her now, but something new, something like hope. The next day, Malee leaned against her kitchen counter, a cup of tea warming her hands. She had left her hair in its lotus form, the white and pink a stark contrast to her simple clothes. She was a fusion of her two selves, no longer hiding one to become the other. Her comlink chimed. It was a citywide public broadcast. Kale's face appeared on the floating screen, broadcasting from his workshop. "I just want to put this out there," he was saying, his voice earnest. "To the warrior who calls herself Lotus, thank you. The lower sector sees you. We thank you. If you ever need a techsmith or just a friend, you know where to find me." The broadcast ended, leaving his hopeful smile hanging in the air. Malee looked at the blank screen, and a slow, genuine smile spread across her own face. It wasn't Malee's timid smile, nor was it Lotus's confident smirk. It was simply hers. She didn't answer, not yet. But as she looked out at the vast, sprawling city, it no longer seemed like a place to hide from. It looked like a place full of possibility. The city lights outside Malee's window pulsed like a distant heartbeat. But for the first time, the rhythm felt less like a threat and more like an invitation. Kale's message had ended, but his voice lingered in the quiet of her kitchen. A simple, kind thread, reaching from the gritty, vibrant world below all the way up to her sterile, silent spire. A warmth spread through her chest that had nothing to do with the tea she was holding. It was a foreign feeling, this gentle hum of connection. It was hope. She didn't sleep much that night, not from anxiety, but from a strange, restless energy. She watched the dawn break over Ayutthaya Prime, the rising sun setting the sky lanes ablaze with gold. This was always the hardest part of the day, the moment she had to pack Lotus away, deactivating the shimmer in her hair, wiping away the last traces of the warrior, and putting on the drab, gray uniform of the invisible girl, Malee. She stood before the mirror, her reflection a paradox. The brilliant white and pink hair of a hero framed the face of a girl who was afraid to order food. Her hand instinctively went to the device behind her ear, ready to switch it all off, to retreat back into the safety of anonymity. But her fingers paused, hovering just inches away. She thought of Kale's easy smile. She remembered the solid, satisfying thud of the thug's mechanical arm hitting the ground. She recalled her own voice, low and steady, as she named herself, Lotus. That strength was hers. It had always been hers. Why did it only belong to the night? Slowly, deliberately, she lowered her hand. She left the hair as it was. Her heart began to pound, a familiar drumbeat of fear. But this time, another rhythm played underneath it, a quiet, stubborn resolve. She walked over to the comlink and brought up the food menu. It hovered in the air, a hologram of her greatest daily failure. Her throat felt tight, her palms grew damp. But she took a deep breath, picturing not the faceless AI, but the friendly face of the boy in the lower sector. She pointed. "Cow pad saparot," she said. Her voice was quiet, a little shaky, but it was there. "Excellent choice," the AI chirped. "Thank you." When the food arrived, she took it to the window. The pineapple fried rice had never tasted so sweet. It was more than just a meal. It was a trophy. Down below, the city bustled with morning life. It no longer looked like an alien landscape of faceless crowds. It was a place where people lived and worked, a place where someone had seen her, not just the mask, but the person behind it, clumsy stumbles and all. She caught her reflection in the window, superimposed over the sprawling city. The white and pink hair of Lotus, the soft, uncertain eyes of Malee. Was it truly possible to weave the silent, steady strength of the warrior into the fragile, hopeful heart of the girl? To walk through the sunlit world not as a ghost, but as herself, with all the power and all the fear that came with it. To not just live two lives, but to finally become one.